Hi, Susan.
Hello.
What brings you in today to visit with me?
Oh, I've been having a lot of stress lately, and recently I was admitted to the ER, actually twice.
Wow.
Yeah. I guess they were calling it panic attacks, is what I've been having, apparently.
Okay.
Um, so that's been really scary.
Yeah, it sounds scary. Going to the
yeah.
ER is not fun.
No, not at all. Not at all. And I just moved here, so
Okay.
yeah. And I'm living with my parents, which is like even more stress,
Wow.
Yeah.
You have a lot going on. All right. So tell me a little bit about the panic attacks. What happened that you had to go to the ER?
Well, I had them at my house, and my mom was there, and she was like really freaked out about me, and I had never had them before.
Okay.
So my heart just started racing. I started sweating.
Wow.
I felt like I couldn't breathe, and I felt like there's this like reoccurring thought that I was gonna die, because it was like such an awful feeling. Like I didn't even feel like I was part of my body at one point. And so, my mom was really afraid, and she took me to the hospital, and, it stopped after about 10 minutes. But it was...
Wow.
Yeah, and that's happened twice.
Okay. So when was the first time that it happened?
The first time was about 2 weeks ago, and then the last one was last week.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it was really scary for you, feeling like you can't breathe and, shortness of breath and just really hot and sweating. Yeah, that you had to go to the ER. And how was that experience for you at the ER?
When I first went in, they were nice and friendly, but the second time I went in, I felt like they were kind of like, oh, why is she here again? Why is this happening again to her? Which made me even more stressed out.
Right.
More, I guess you'd call it anxiety-ridden about even being there.
Right.
And I'm just really afraid, like, I don't want it to keep happening,
Of course. Yeah, that's understandable. Nobody likes having panic attacks. They're really scary.
Yeah.
So when you were at the emergency room, did they give you any medication, or what did they say?
No, they basically just kind of talked me down, and they ran some tests, and just to make sure, like, I wasn't having a heart attack, or like, I'm only 22, so I probably wasn't, but they just wanted to make sure. But it was, they were just, I basically laid there and like had to like get it out.
Right.
And the good thing was it only lasted like 10 minutes, which is nice, but at the same time it's like...
It's still really scary.
Yeah, it is.
So since last week, have you had any panic attacks or feelings like that?
I haven't had any like full-blown panic attacks, but I feel like I had mentioned earlier, like I just moved here. I was at Emory University.
Yeah.
I got my bachelor's degree, and that was exciting, but that was also like a really stressful time in my life because
Definitely.
Going to school, and Emory's like all my family had gone to Emory, so it's like a special place, and I'm happy that I graduated from there, but I moved back and I'm living with my parents, and I do have a job.
Okay.
But it's a lot of change.
It is a lot of change all at once. Yeah. When did you move back?
I moved back I graduated May of this year, and then I moved in June.
Okay.
And because I got the job, so
Okay.
I was like applying to like all these different like nonprofit agencies.
Great, and you got the job.
I got the job.
That's really exciting.
Yeah, but at the same time, like it's still really stressful. Like when you start a new job, I mean, at least for me, I've always been like a perfectionist and someone who wants to really excel.
Okay.
And when I was younger in my undergrad, like I suffered from some bulimia and stuff, and I sought therapy for that.
Okay.
But like because I'm such a perfectionist, whenever I start anything new or change happens, it's really hard for me. And
definitely.
And now that the panic attacks are happening, like I'm really worried because I'm thinking, oh, okay, is that this new manifestation or something that because I'm a high stress perfectionist type person.
Right. So you have a lot of stress going on with the new job.
Yeah.
Totally understandable. So, and you suffered from bulimia previously,
Yeah.
but you're not having any issues with that now?
No, I had a really good therapist at the school, and she really helped me through that time, and so I'm happy to say that that's no longer a problem for me in my life. But it's when things like this panic attack stuff, when it started happening, it's like, it's scary and it freaked me out and got me thinking about that time in my life where I did have bulimia.
Right.
And, I was going through that. So that's just been kind of cropping up some feelings, which has been really freaky for me. But,
And do you have any, specific ways or skills, coping skills that you would use, during those times when those feelings of, frustration or the thoughts of the bulimia come back?
Yeah, my therapist, she taught me some stuff. Like, I actually, at that time, I got really into yoga.
Okay, yeah, that's great.
And meditation and stuff, and I haven't been doing that lately.
Yeah. You didn't enjoy it?
I did. It's funny because, like, I really enjoyed it, and I liked it, and it really helped me.
Okay.
But, I just, because this whole job thing and living with my parents, like, I just keep feeling like when I'm at work, I just never feel like I'm doing, like, the best that I can be doing. Like, I don't feel like I'm good at the position I'm in, and I don't feel like I'm actually helping anyone.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. What makes you feel like that? What kind of things are happening at work that make, when those thoughts come?
Well, recently I've started to run groups, and I've, which is, interesting and fun, but because it's a group of people, it makes me really nervous, and I just don't think at all that I'm doing a good job, and that I'm, getting to the people. Like, I don't feel like what I have to offer to them, which I don't feel like is a lot. Like, when I graduated, I felt like, oh, I learned so much, and I'm going to help, but, like, when I moved and I just started getting, like, all these crappy feelings and beliefs about how I'm just not good at this, and will I ever be?
Right.
Will I ever be good at it?
Right, I hear you. It sounds like you're just a little uncertain if this job is the one for you, and if you're good at it, and how you can continue to help people. And do you have a supervisor that you trust at your job?
I do, yeah. She's actually really nice to me, and she when I first got there, she helps me a lot, and she still does. She is really there for me,
Great.
So that's kind of like, that's okay.
That's awesome. It's great to have a supervisor that believes in you or that can offer you help. Yeah,
and it's, it's weird because, I mean, she tells me, you're really doing good, and it's just like, I don't know why, but it's hard for me to believe that myself.
Do you trust your supervisor and her feedback?
I do, because she has a lot of experience, and she's been doing this a long time, and I've seen her help people. And
you were hired for this new position at the nonprofit, and so I'm sure they thought you were adequately prepared and ready for the job.
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know, maybe, because I had to go in for like 3 interviews, because they had, some, from what they told me, people that they were really interested in these people. So I guess it's kind of good that I,
Wow, you had to go through 3 interviews before you got the job?
We had a phone interview that we had to, and then I came back from Emory, and they were like, we want to see you again, and so I came in again, and I met with some of the social workers there, and talked with them, and had like an interview, and then I got called in to meet with like the head supervisor, and she said, from what I did at the university, I did a lot of work with the LGBT community and with DV and a lot of different stuff like that. She was really impressed.
Well, wow, that's awesome.
So that was good.
Not everyone has those skills to work with those populations, so you should be really proud of yourself.
Yeah, you think? I don't know. Sometimes I feel that way.
What kind of things did you do with them when you were at the university that made you feel good?
Well, I had more, like, I was more autonomous because I didn't have to like fit into this like, you know, square box
Mm-hmm.
of what it meant to be like in that field or in that agency.
Right.
I could really just
Oh God. Is it not recording?
I don't know. Well, this will be a little fun time. How long has it been? It's still recording. Yeah, it's still recording.
Okay. What is this doing?
Sorry, Anne.
Maybe we can edit this out.
Yeah.
Okay, you need to watch this.
Okay.
So, you were working with the LGBT community.
Yeah, and I was more autonomous, and I felt like I could go through more creative processes of like creating things.
Okay.
And at this new agency, like they already have like a set.
Mm-hmm.
This is what our groups are. This is what our one-on-ones are. This is what we do.
Okay.
And not that I have a problem with that, but it just makes me feel like I have to fit now into this like box, and if I don't, that they're not going to want me there.
Right.
And that I'm not doing the best that I need to be doing.
Mm-hmm. So you feel like they're at this new agency, they're requiring you to fit in a box, kind of, or meet their expectations, and you have all these great ideas that you'd love to share with them.
Yeah.
Have you tried to share any with your supervisor?
No, I know I haven't.
Maybe if that might be something that you're willing to do, because she seems to trust you. You know, they hired you. They believe that you can do it and that you're adequate for this position. And I'm sure they saw your resume and you told them about all the awesome things you did at Emory with the students there. So it probably would not be a bad idea to share some of your ideas.
Yeah, I do trust her.
Mm-hmm.
And she has told me that, you know, I've been doing good.
Right.
So I think that's something I can do.
That's really good.
Yeah.
The fact that she thinks you're doing a good job so early on, that means that your skills are very adequate and that you're doing a fabulous job.
Yeah. So she may be open, you think, to if I approached her, you think like some ideas that I had,
Mm-hmm.
and
definitely. Yeah, and you can always, ask her, maybe ask her why they do things the way they do, and maybe present your ideas too.
Yeah.
They might be open to that.
Yeah.
So you did talk a little bit about your panic attacks.
Yeah.
And how, you think that was because you're in a new location, you're living at home.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about living at home. How is that working out?
My parents, they care about me, and they're very supportive of what I want to do and what I am doing, but they put a lot of pressure on me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're constantly like, oh, so how was your day? And did you do anything grand? Did you do anything that really changed anyone's perspective? And it's like, when I wasn't living with them, when I was off at Emory, like, I didn't have to deal with that.
Right.
Because I could talk to them on the phone, but it wasn't like constant.
Every day, yeah.
Yeah, and I notice like when my mom, especially when she says things like that, like, oh, well, maybe if you did it differently, or if you weren't so freaked out about not being good enough, you would be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And when she says stuff like that, it just, my anxiety goes up because, I want my parents to be proud of me.
Of course.
And I want to be proud of myself, but it makes it really hard when they're saying that. And then I start even more thinking in my head, like we talked about, I'm not good at this.
Right.
And so they put a lot of pressure on me.
Yeah, it sounds like they do put a lot of pressure on you. Have you ever felt that your parents were proud of you about something?
When I got into Emory, they were ecstatic.
Okay.
They were very excited, and, but...
What about when you graduated from Emory?
They were happy, but they were, and they came and everything, but they didn't... I know they were happy, but because I went through the bulimia, my grades slipped.
Okay.
So I had some bad grades. And so I feel like they might have been happier for me if I had gotten all A's,
right.
which I didn't.
Right.
And So that was kind of crappy. But I mean, when I got in, they were so happy.